Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Channel Zero No End House, Episode 6. It is the season finale. It is called The Hollow Girl. So full spoilers for the episode, and the season as a whole now, of course. And, I mean, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but I mean, we nailed a fair bit of this.
We nailed this whole season.
And the real thing is I don't think it's because it was too predictable necessarily.
It just did the things it was supposed to do.
Yeah, and the last episode, we were pretty sure of how at least the setup was going to be. You know, maybe not how it resolved, but we were pretty sure Jules was going to be a time jump. It was going to be a year later. Jules was going to come hunting like we'd seen what's his face do already and fail, and she was going to come to save Margot, and that was pretty much what it was. I did not expect Seth's story to turn quite as dark as it did.
No, that was unexpected. I'll give it that.
But yeah, so yeah, that's may end up being a shorter discussion than I think we've had for these, just because
it is very much. Oh yeah, here's the end of the story.
Yeah, it was a very natural ending in that sense. There was a lot
I don't think that's a problem though, because I mean sometimes that can be it just ended, but here it did what it was supposed to do. We found this season to be somewhat almost predictable because it made the right choices.
Yeah. A lot of nice touches in there as well, of course. I will say, because it was a lot of just like concluding the plot kind of the way we expected it to, this was probably the least creepy episode, because I feel like the house itself has kind of lost its mystique, even for the characters, which is why it kind of works, because at this point, we don't even see, when Jules finds the house again in Quebec, Canada, we don't even get to see her walk through it this time. It just cuts to her inside the house.
It doesn't matter, those rooms aren't important anymore.
Yeah, she's, more or less dominated, or at least she's on her path to dominating our problem. That was a great touch later on, because obviously the fake dad, we can kind of see that he's starting to feel guilty about what he's doing to her, and that over time he's accepted that maybe he shouldn't be doing what he's doing with her, even if it does mean that he has to die. And but right at the end of the episode, he sacrifices himself. He throws himself into the pool after being he gets them. He's getting Margot to stab him, and then he's tied to. It's not a rock. It's like a little. It's ornamental. Yeah. It's got like a design to it, but it's made out of rock. It's a big.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call it, but it's a thing.
It's a sort of rock.
Yeah, I think you might put a candle on top of it. I mean, maybe, I'm not sure, but not a candle, but I can see like a flame, like one of those little flame things that you get outside.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
but it's basically a rock.
It's basically a rock. Anyway, so he gives Margot a knife. And she's like struggling, she's standing there and she's like, she can't do it. And neat little touch that sums up the entire season is that Jules in the background, after a while, gets up, comes over and like holds her hands and helps her do it. And it's just, it's simple, it's the entire story. It's that she couldn't cope on her own, Jules now recognises she can't cope on her own and comes over and helps her take care of it. And specifically deal with the grief of losing her father. And this is very symbolic because she's getting rid of her father, she's saying bye to that.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice touch, isn't it?
It's beautiful stuff, beautifully put together in that sense.
And the shot of him falling in the water is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, of course. It's just a deep pit, or bottomless, vast ocean, and not a pool like it looks like on top. But
we've had that imagery with her a few times throughout the season.
I think it's episode 1, just to make it feel a bit more bookended. I'm sure we had that in episode 1.
We might well have done, yeah.
So good stuff. Like we say, Seth was a lot darker. In fact, it was kind of nice how Jules ran into him. He's luring more people into the house. He's like, "Oh, hey, Jules." It's like, "You bastard." At it again. But we get inside and he actually attacks her. It's funny, we talked about how we're predicting things. I actually said quite early on, as soon as they were having that debate, before he attacks her, before he punches on the stomach and they're outside the cage, I went, they're getting their hands on him by the end of this episode.
It was too much for them to have been there all season and them not to do anything.
Yeah, so the big thing is, obviously it's dark that he attacks Jules to try and like protect the fact that he's got Margot in his prison, but we find out that this Margot's not the first. That all of these houses,
not even close.
In this circle, this cul-de-sac of houses, which are all very identical, each one has a girl that is now a shell of her former self, where all the memories have been taken and they're just empty. They're not alive. And Jules discovers this, and Jules takes Margot to, because Jules is kind of like, or Margot's kind of like confused. She doesn't know if she wants to leave. She's like, I've kind of forgotten that world. Maybe I'm better
Yeah,
in
she
here.
talks about, she knows it exists, but she doesn't know how to function in it anymore.
Yeah. And again, metaphor for grief. That's how one might feel when they're going through a really extreme amount of grief. Is I don't know how to function in this world anymore.
Yeah.
The whole thing's very metaphoric in that sense. Where
it is.
That's what I like about this season. Largely is that the story. Like, if you take away the horror stuff, the story is really just about someone getting over their grief and a friend getting over the fact that they weren't there for them, and that's what the core of the story is. And yeah, you've got all this creepy stuff where there was chase scenes and there was like creepy imagery and all that.
But it happens to have a core purpose. It knows what the story is beyond just being scary.
Yeah, so at the end of this episode, when they finally leave through the exit door, which by the way does not look like any exit door we've seen yet. This looks like a new exit door, and it's just that's the final shot is them walking through the light into the opening, and it's like we don't. I mean, I was kind of hoping to see like her in the real world again. I wanted to see which like. Does she get her memories back now because they've properly defeated it?
Yeah.
Maybe. Because I was thinking, because she doesn't remember her mother, I was wondering if we get a scene like with her mother, but it doesn't really matter too much because this was actually kind of the perfect...
It's not. Yeah, it's not what it's about, is it?
No.
Like the story ended because okay, she's dealt with her grief. She can move on with her life and kind of start afresh, which again kind of goes into there's no memories. She can make new ones.
Yeah. Because at the start of the episode, she's actually picking what memories for him to take. She sort of writes them down so she can read them later. But he's like, oh, you've been a couple of days. You look hungry. Take one. Here's another one. Here's a story of us looking for UFOs and we're eating apples.
Yeah.
On an afternoon. But eventually they're going to run out. So no, it's good. I like the fact that Seth goes to the dad, thinking, oh yeah, Margot's having these weird ideas about burning down the house to try and stop new people from getting in. Kind of like she's accepted she's trapped there, but she doesn't want anyone else to get trapped. So
she's like, let's just block the doors. Let's not let anyone else in. Obviously, Seth's like, no, that's not such a good idea, and we learn why. Yeah,
and then of course our fake dad here is kind of agreeing with her. That's a good idea, but no one else should get trapped in here. He's actually grown a conscience.
I think it's interesting. Obviously, he's based off of Margot's memory of him. It's almost like this idealized version of him.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the difference between, say, Seth's family and her family. Is like Seth doesn't seem to care that much about his family. He's avoiding them. He's literally locking them in cages. Whereas, she made her dad like it's kind of the best version of him that he could have been. It was none of the bad stuff.
Yeah, our dad might have just been this good as well. Anyway,
he could have been, but even if he wasn't, it's the sort of idea that she never know about it. She never thought about it like that, so it doesn't infect this version of him. It's all good, which is obviously why he can presumably overcome this at the end.
Yeah, because even a real dad, like the reason why he turned out he killed himself. Misguided as it may be, was to protect his wife and child. Yeah. It was to make sure they didn't lose their house, and so he had like a sort of noble sacrifice thing going for him anyway.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me that he would also, like, this version of him that's based on him would also sacrifice himself.
Yeah, it does make sense.
So that works. Jules being a complete badass. Her egg thing.
Yeah, she calls it a tumor.
Finds her. And because Seth scares the shit out of her. He's like, oh yeah, it's not fed in a year. It'll still be there, but it'll be so hungry now that it's just going to consume you if it ever gets near you. And she goes inside it, and it made a point before she got here that she packed a knife. And I'm like, she's going to cut her way out from the inside of that damn thing.
It's so good.
And she does. And not only does she do that, she comes out and she looks like she's been through all three Predator movies. She's just drenched in blood.
Yeah, and obviously the actual cutting out is very birthing, and it's again to go this it's a new life that they can kind of move on. Yeah,
because the camera goes straight in, like real close up, and I'm like, the knife's going to pop out right about, and I was kind of like almost calling it, and I was like, right about, and I was like, right now. Yeah. Excellent. But yeah, it was very birthday. That's a very good way of putting it, actually. Yeah, and it's kind of funny how the tables flip, because at the end when Margot's confronting him with everything, and all the other like previous Margots are all kind of like around. Uh, he tries to run off in the other direction when Margot opens the cage, but you see Jules and the fake dad walking up from behind, and it's kind of weird that now in the finale the fake dad is now an ally. He's now helping, because just 3 episodes ago he was the Terminator. He was walking through the streets killing bystanders trying to get to Margot.
Yeah, it's amusing.
Now he's the noble one.
Seth definitely has a type, though, don't he? Like,
oh, he does. Yeah, they're all kind of timid-looking brunettes. Yeah, very similar. Yeah, he got a bit more acting this episode, because he got to scream. He was raving like a lunatic. He was, oh, you people don't understand this place. It's an organism.
He was pretty good, actually, to be fair.
It was flying off the handle. It's the sort of scene where a bad actor it'd have felt really hammy. Whereas he handled it all right. If he felt like he really believed what he was saying, so
yeah, I don't think we've really praised his acting up to this point, because he's been doing what he had to do, but he hasn't been doing anything exceptional, because it hasn't called for him to do anything that interesting.
No, I think up until that scene, he's basically been kind of not monotone, but just kind of like dopey and not really committal.
Yeah, he's done exactly what he was supposed to do. To his credit, like that's exactly what the script and direction was supposed to be. But it doesn't showcase his talent that much. Whereas this here, it's, there's some range. Oh, he can actually do some things where it's like, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah. It's funny, actually, because Margot arguably had the easiest acting job this episode compared to the rest, because she was more dopey-eyed for a lot of it.
Yeah, she was kind of almost zombie mode.
Yeah.
Not quite, but she was getting there.
Which was kind of the point, that she'd only saved the most important people in life up to this point. And Jules, of course, has a bit of time to shine, because she gets to be a bit more proactive. So she storms into the house. We see her try and find it, and she seems very determined. All these things,
like we said last week, she kind of became the hero at the end.
Yeah, which made sense, because they set it up so well last week. We talked about how fulfilling it was, like realizing that she tried to save her friend, but she was too late again. So it was like, this is why she has to win in the final episode, because we've built up to it. And she'll actually succeed and help her friend get through what it is she's going through. And sure, in this case, it's escape a weird, evil house that feeds on people.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
But it works. So no, I really. It's funny, because obviously I think we have to compare it to the first season. We have to talk about which do we like more, and what in what sense. And it's funny, I think the first season is a better, creepier show. Not that there wasn't creepy stuff in this season, there absolutely was. But I think
it was a bit front loaded on the creepiness this season.
Season 1 was creepier throughout. Had a bit more of a dreamlike quality. I know this, again, not that this one didn't, but the first one I felt like maintained
but I think this one had a better human core to it.
It did, yeah. The core human story was better this season. So it's a odd comparison. I think it maybe shows some range in the showrunners and how they're putting these together.
Because I like both seasons, but for different reasons. Like I say, I think the first season in some ways is more memorable, in the sense of, you got the meat hooks and the kids and the puppets. And this one, you got some creepy imagery, but the memorable things are the character drama. Whereas in the first one, I think that's not as memorable compared to this.
No, but that's okay. They both have their own strengths, and it's funny, because I feel like last season or last year, like when we got to the end of the year, we were talking about best shows and stuff like that. Like, I think we mentioned it, but it wasn't maybe treated with it wasn't high in the rankings. And I feel like, again, this year we're probably going to forget this to an extent, because partly because it's so short, and by the time we get to the end of the year, it's been a little while.
And to be fair, there's some real stiff competition.
There is stiff competition, but I think I want to applaud it for its consistency.
Yeah, I think it becomes better as an overall show, because it took a completely different story and it's just as good. I don't know if I'd say it's better, because again, that's kind of down to taste.
I think it's down to
what
taste
you want out of it. Yeah. But it's equally as good, and the fact that it can deliver that twice in a row is better than some shows that just have one amazing season and then ride that.
I think the human story, and I'd maybe also lump in the acting, were better this year.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. I think that the very first episode, going through the house, I think the creepiness in that rivals anything in that first season. But in the first season, it was, it was paced out over it all. It wasn't all just here's a dump of all of it at once. And there was some other stuff still in this season, but
I was thinking of that statement. I don't know. I think the Tooth Child still wins over everything in the first episode of this season.
that's fair. That is fair. Tooth Child is never gonna forget that, are you?
No, Tooth Child is life. Screw your porgs.
Tooth Child is death.
It's life, death, everything in between. The whole thing. Funny, actually, little sneak peek into the news show this week. Because I've been working in advance this week. I actually have some of the news already ready for tomorrow. Season 3's got a title now, and it's got a release window, and it's not October next year.
Don't tell me it's earlier.
It is earlier.
Wow, okay. This might be the only show ever to move earlier instead of slipping.
Well, what's weird is that I remember they had a trailer for this season of this show when season 1 ended, and that was a year ago. So they'd already shot it, or were at least halfway through shooting it.
Yeah, but I get why they want to hold it for October. I understand.
I get
makes
that,
sense.
but they'd already renewed it for season 3 and 4 after season 1, and so we've still got those 2 seasons to go, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So season 3 is coming spring 2018.
I'm alright with that.
Yeah. I don't have the info in front of me, so I can't tell you the title, but there's a title and description. I don't have it. I'll have it for the news. There you go. Come back for the weekly TV news video that we do late Friday, early Saturday, and you can get the full scoop on that.
Along with lots of other nonsense.
Lots of other nonsense, indeed. But yeah, that was the key thing that stuck out to me though when I was glancing at it earlier. Is early 2018. All right, okay.
Yeah, no, that is interesting.
So, but yeah, which might mean we get 2 seasons next year because they may have the 4th one ready for October as well.
They could do. That's the thing. I'm saying. Oh, I'm surprised they don't want it then, because it's this is the season for it.
Yeah, but if they're going to have 2,
if they're going to have 2, then yeah, by all means.
Yeah, knock one out in March, April time period.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, Any other moments from the finale? I really liked the music actually. Just after they stabbed the dad and put him in the pool, like they were kind of embracing,
nice.
and there was this nice synth that came in. Especially notable because obviously, because it's a creepy show, there's not been a lot of heartfelt music. It's been mostly, sort of
stings and creepy background pieces.
Yeah, sometimes it sounds like a sort of tuned air conditioner, just a sort of just
no, that's perfectly all right.
That's fine. But that music stood out because it was like, yeah, we're not scared anymore because we don't need to be.
I think I'll point out one criticism I have is they made a point of going, oh, the house is rearranged. Look, this is in French now. And then we got the stuff before with, the Russian stuff before. And I'm like, it never really did anything with it. I thought it was going when it came up again this episode, I thought that was going to, pay off somewhere. And it never really did.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it's just saying that whenever it goes to a new place, it adds a new part of the map that's based on that place. And that's why there was a Russian school there from before.
From before. No, I mean, I get it. I feel like they could have done more with it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess to me it was just like the Russian school set up a question, and then when the French area came in and he explained that was the answer this episode. So
okay,
bit of a close loop. I mean, I think if you had more time, you could have done more stuff with it. If you had more time jumps where you got new chunks kept getting added on.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, here's some, it's French here, but never played with it. It was just like I say, it was just an answer. And in which case, I almost preferred it when it was just a mystery of, Russian. This is interesting. Whereas this kind of just gives you an answer, but then doesn't do anything interesting with it beyond that.
Well, the point of the scene is not that it's French. The point of the scene is that they know the house is opened up somewhere else. That's why there's a new section added on. And then it cuts to Jules, and it's like, oh, it's in Quebec, and it's like, ah. So it's almost a little swerve because they say, oh, French, oh, it's in France. And then it's like, oh, it's Quebec. Oh, that's easier for Jules to drive to. That's better.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just wish they'd done more with it.
Fair. So that is the season finale of Channel Zero No End House. Short and sweet, but it was really straightforward episode, and in the best possible ways, I think.
Yeah.
So no, poor JD though. He's I mean, Seth deserved to get
everything
mind
that
sucked.
happened to him.
Yeah. In fact, we should probably mention the look of horror on Fake Dad's face as he sees the giant pool of memories getting formed.
I like that. Like, it's all just black, but then as it comes up, you could just see the white of the bodies being formed in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a nice touch.
So cool. So let us know what you thought of the season and the last episode. In the comments below, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there, get some bonuses and stuff. As I mentioned, I'll plug it again, the weekly TV news video that we do every single week. We, obviously there's Chelsea's news coming this week, but we talk about a lot of new shows coming, and we tend to get a bit rambly on that one because that one's a bit more open, it's a bit more less focused, so we get to treat that a bit more as a casual discussion. Not that we're super locked in on these either, but
compared to that though, we're never stray.
Yeah, so so do all those things, but that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Well, have you got any vanilla?